Well, we're at the SMMT test day at this top secret proving ground in Millbrook, which isn't top secret today because all the world is here. Most of the motoring journalists in the UK are here, but we're lucky enough to talk to Mike Hawes, Chief Executive of the SMMT, Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders. And Mike, this is very much your showcase for an industry that's been suffering a little bit lately, but is picking up again.
Yeah, it's been a tough few years. I mean, obviously COVID affected society in some pretty dreadful ways, but also affected the industry. It's disrupted supply chains, put up logistics costs. That's constrained production, constrained supply, constrained the ability to put cars on the market and consumers to buy them. And you saw that with the long wait lists for cars, high use price values, but things are beginning to settle down again now. We're beginning to get a bit more growth both in new car market and production. So it's going to be a long haul to get back to where we were, but at least we've started to do that now.
I mean, the glory years through the 90s and probably never likely to happen again because there's a general move away from sort of personal transportation. But as we go into the world of EVs, which we are doing very rapidly, that's going to pick back up a bit more.
People still are very dependent on personal travel. And one of the lessons of COVID, I think, was that actually sort of reaffirmed people's dependence, reliance on personal transport. And also, you think back at the beginning of COVID, when you went into lockdown, there were certain things that had, exemptions. And one of the things that did have an exemption was obviously the ability to service and repair your car, because people need to get to work, nurses, doctors, and so forth. You need to be able to get your products to the supermarket, which we're allowed to be open. So that's still there. What we are seeing, however, your second part of your question, is that shift away from fossil fuel dirtier technologies into a cleaner one, which is right for everyone, not least the environment. The question is, how quickly can we get this to be the mainstream technology?
Well, I think every manufacturer, just about every manufacturer here today, has arrived with a plethora of EVs of all shapes and sizes. So there is really something for everybody. Whether everybody can afford it is an immediate problem.
Yeah, it's a new technology. We've had petrol, diesel for 120 plus years, so it's been refined, cost down, supply chains, that constant improvement in efficiency, drive down costs to make personal transport affordable. So new technology, it is dependent on different supply chains in terms of raw materials, which are expensive, and they're increasingly in demand, not just in the UK, in Europe, in America and beyond. So it's supply and demand. The challenge for the manufacturers is to bring down the cost, getting it much more, closer to the price of an internal combustion engine. But then you've got to look at the total cost of ownership in terms of, refueling vis-a-vis recharging, in terms of insurance, in terms of a plethora of issues that help you overcome what is a price differential that will be there for a while.
And we looked like there was a major hiccup coming our way, both in the UK and in Europe. The amount of content in each vehicle that had to be generated locally. That looked like being a major problem. It seems as though there may be a slight breakthrough there from this morning's news.
Well, we hope so. I mean, what we said, first of all, when the deal was done for Brexit, there was a huge relief in the industry because we wanted tariff-free trade. Nobody wanted to put up the price of the vehicles that you're putting onto UK and European markets. Part of that deal, though, was basically saying that the rules around electric vehicles and electric vehicles alone about their content levels would get tougher in 24 and again in 27. From when it was signed to when and now, we've obviously had COVID, disruptions to supply chain. The battery industry, which had said, hoped, certainly told the European Commission that they would be able to meet demands by 2024, clearly isn't there. Yes, investments are going in. People are building gigafactories in Europe and indeed the UK, but the level of demand for battery electric vehicles has gone up. So neither the industry on this side of the channel or the mainland European side of the channel believe they can meet those rules. We want common sense to prevail. This doesn't need renegotiation. It just needs a side agreement that a particular element won't be enforced from the 1st of January. As I said, it's common sense.
Yes, and what seemed to be first up on the news was the fact that this was going to destroy the UK car industry. And then I think we all started to realise, well, actually, it affects Europe as well. Although this is European-generated rules, the fact is that it's going to affect everybody in Europe. Everybody virtually isn't the Far East.
It is. I mean, what this would see, if these rules are to be enforced from the 1st of January, it means the overwhelming majority of battery electric vehicles that are made in Europe and sold in the UK, or made in the UK and sold in Europe, would likely face a 10% tariff on the import. Effectively, that would put up the price of the very vehicles we're trying to encourage. And it is both ways. I mean, the UK remains the second biggest market for new cars in Europe. It's an important market. It's a relatively affluent market. And this is, we're trying to accelerate the take-up of these vehicles to meet environmental demands. So anything that presents further barriers to the take-up can't make any sense for anybody.
So it's not all doom and gloom. Some common sense should prevail, but the timescales for making those revisions are quite short.
It is. The rules come into force on the 1st of January. We can't wait till the 11th hour to get a deal. What we need to see is a clear indication that this is being discussed and they will be waived as soon as possible, because we're effectively 6-7 months away now. Manufacturers have to plan their volumes, but you can't plan your volume if you don't know what the cost is going to be, and hence the price is going to be. That depends on your market position and so forth. So if there's a danger still present when you're getting to October, November, the manufacturer is going to say, well, that's a risk. I will reduce the number of BEVs that I will get because I can't risk trying to sell them into a market where they're priced out of the competitive set.
So it could stall the entire market, but you're upbeat, and you think that most of the industry is quite upbeat about this being resolved quickly?
I don't think it could slow down this transition. And next year we face a zero-emission vehicle mandate, so we have to sell increasing these vehicles. So again, given that it's this is in the industry's interest, it's in the environmental interest, and it's in consumers' interest. Politicians don't want that negativity across all those three issues. So again, common sense.